We got Nick and Marie. Nick is Sakon Lamb's coach, and he's now a professional fight promoter, and he knows a lot about the MMA world. And Marie is a professional Muay Thai fighter. You've probably seen her. She's been on a lot of highlights and things like that, YouTube, Instagram. So they're both people to know. So welcome, Nick and Marie.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let's start with you, Nick. When did you train Sakon? How did you train Sakon? Tell me about that.
I first met Sakon in Bangkok a couple of years ago when I was organizing a fundraising boxing event to help street dogs in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
And Sakon came down from Chiang Mai to check out the show. And a mutual friend of ours introduced me to Sakon. And ever since then, we got along. And we've been working together numerous times. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I see. And what was it like to teach and work with Sakon?
He is the most dedicated, hardest working individual I've ever met. He has no limitations. He really believes in my process and my methods.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not just my student, but to this day, I consider him as one of my actual brothers. He's really family to me. He's helped me out a lot. I helped him out a lot. I love him a lot.
Okay.
So the relationship is more than just like a sifu and a tuti,
Mm-hmm. I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that Sakon's 10 years older than me.
Wow. Are you Hakka? Are you of Chinese origin, Nick?
No, Guangdongyan.
Oh, Guangdong. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. And okay, now let's talk about I am from Sichuan. So I'm from Sichuan,
nice.
Southwest China.
Nice. The best Chinese food in the world.
Exactly. You got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Nick, how did you meet Marie?
My first MMA fight ever was actually on Nick's show. So that's how we met.
I see. And what was your impression of Marie when you first met her?
I knew she had something special, like an X factor, if you know what I'm trying to say. She had that thing where you couldn't really explain it. It's like a snap of a finger. Some people have it, some people don't. And on top of that, she was really humble and down to earth, really talented, really skilled. Like I knew that was a star in the making right there. And then I just knew right away. And on top of that, I think she's the most beautiful girl I've ever met. So
yeah, I think a lot of people who are in the fight world probably think so too. So let's talk about that, Marie. Being someone who's an attractive girl, what made you get into martial arts and Muay Thai? Was this something you've always liked to do, or was there an incident? Tell me about that.
Nothing to do with my looks. I don't consider myself like attractive or beautiful, whatever, like I never, I don't really focus on that aspect at all. So when I first got into Muay Thai, I had a classmate who was like fighting, and he also went to a camp in Thailand and stuff like that. So I saw him do it, and I thought like, man, that's so awesome. And at the time I really wanted to like find some sort of hobby and some sort of workout or whatever. So I tried it out, fell in love with it. Before I realized I was taking fights, and yeah, soon after that moved to Thailand, and here I am now.
When I was talking to Nick before this, we talked a lot about training and sort of how gyms train people. So I would like to ask you two both about that. What types of like training methods have you guys had? Did you train at gyms where it's like people light spar, they don't even start, they spar very hard? I think these are all kind of like questions that people are really pondering right now, because there's so much both about how to become a good fighter and also about how to avoid slurping out of a straw when you're 40. So tell me about the training. How do you guys train day to day?
The sparring question, I would say back home, back in Estonia, people definitely sparred a lot harder. Like sometimes even stupid hard, there were times where my lips were all like busted and I couldn't like eat normally and stuff like that. But I think that's like stupid sparring. You definitely need hard sparring every once in a while, especially if you don't fight that often. But there's a limit to everything, and you can't go like hard sparring every time.
I was watching this podcast. I'm not going to call out the podcast, but they were interviewing a boyfriend and girlfriend who were both kickboxers. And they were talking about, sometimes in sparring, we accidentally knock each other out. And I was listening to that, and I'm like, oh, I don't think that's how you're supposed to spar. And so, do you two like spar each other or practice?
We do spar each other, but we don't try to knock each other out. There is one funny incident though, this happened not too long ago. I got a little bit drunk, and we went back to the gym, and I just thought let's just spar, right? So we put the gloves on, and she whooped my ass for like 20 minutes straight. Woke up the next day, and I'm like, I think I got beat up. But on a more serious note, like me and Marie, like we believe strongly in smart training. You know, because at the end of the day, you can't fight for the rest of your life. You know, there will be a point where you have to stop fighting professionally. And if we train stupid, we're not going to have a really long career ahead of us, or like, you know, a peaceful future, if you get what I mean. You get me? So a lot of the training we do are actually very smart and they're very safe, you know. But the difference is that we don't really put out training materials online on social media, because they're all really, really private stuff. If you look at my social media, I think you find like maybe 5% of it is fight related contents, and everything else is just, you know, a really casual lifestyle.
Now, Nick, how did you get into fight promoting?
I grew up as a troubled kid, right? And I always had a chip on my shoulder, and I am always out there trying to prove people wrong and always trying to do something different. And in a very young age, I mean, you being Chinese, you should know, like my grandparents, my mom, they've always like taken me to the temples, because I had a lot of troubles in school as a child and everything. So they always took me to temples, and you know, they want to get like the palm readings and stuff. They want to ask the monks like what my future is and whatnot. And every single temple and every single monk has always told my family that Nick is going to grow up to be a really unique individual. Whatever he does in life, people will pay attention. Be it people who hate him or people who like him, but people will pay attention to Nick, you know. And I've always kept that with me since I was a kid. And so when I stopped fighting professionally, you know, I got married to my ex-wife, and then we had a son, and I just knew that I couldn't stay broke forever. And I left school at a really young age. I left school at the age of 8 or 9, so I knew that I had to find a way out. So at that time, I was coaching. I was training fitness clients and professional fighters to earn side income and whatnot. And then it came to a point where I just felt like I had the capabilities to organize events, because, you know, me being a Singaporean, like I'm really OCD when it comes to organizational stuff, you know. So I tried a couple of events and everything, and it turned out really well. We had really good reviews out of it, and I had the reputation of being the best organizer in town with really small budgets. And when I say small budget, I'm talking about like $200-300 budgets for a show. Yeah. And since then, like it just went on. So I've been, the last few years, I've just been juggling being a promoter, being a matchmaker, being an organizer, being a party organizer, being a coach. You know, I'm doing everything, you know, I can at the age of 25, you know. Yeah.
Now, do you train Marie also? Or do you train with her? Okay, so you train with her. Oh, okay.
I train her and with her, and we also seek out outside gyms and coaches to train the both of us, because I really believe in learning from other people and improving ourselves as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I guess since we're at it, let's ask Marie. Do you have a plan on who you're fighting next, or what's the next thing you're gonna do? Tell me about that.
Well, right now I have a fight coming up. That's Nick's event also on the 6th of February. I'm fighting this girl, Po Denman. It's gonna be a amateur boxing fight for the title. So it's gonna be 5 3-minute rounds, and yeah, it's my first only boxing fight. So I've done Muay Thai, MMA, kickboxing. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
When you heard it was gonna be boxing only, what was your feeling? How did you feel about that?
I was excited, man. I was like, yeah, let's do it. You know, I'm always open to try something new, and I want to improve my hands, want to improve my punches anyway. So that's a perfect opportunity for me.
Before every fight, Sakon talked about this too. You know, a lot of fighters have like a moment of they get really scared, and then like eventually once they get out of it, they're on stage, and then, you know, do you have that, or is your kind of pre-fight a little different?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I get that nervous. A lot of people say like, oh, I'm so surprised, like you're really chilled before your fights and stuff like that. But there's definitely some level of nervousness, but I think I'm pretty good at handling it.
Since you mentioned Nick's event, Nick, tell me about this next event. Besides boxing that Marie's doing, what are some other things that the event includes?
Potion Fight Night is a sub-event of the CFC Federation. CFC Federation is something me and my partners created to further promote MMA and the fight community in Southeast Asia itself. So we're talking Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, whatnot, and everything. Now, because of the COVID situation, my entire team and executives are not able to be in Bangkok with me organizing events for Southeast Asia. So for now, we're well, at least this year, we're releasing a bunch of sub-events, working with different sponsors and everything. So Potion Energy Drink is the main sponsor for this upcoming February 6th event. So for this show, we got a mixed bag of interesting things. We got obviously, the main event is Marie versus Paul for the super flyweight amateur boxing title. The co-main is a rematch between two of the best amateur male boxers in Bangkok. And the rest of the card, we have a Trinity fight. So I'm not sure if you heard of Trinity. It's first round boxing, second round Muay Thai, third round MMA.
That is awesome. That is freaking awesome.
The best part is it's a heavyweight fight. So, who doesn't love it when heavyweights go at it? Yeah, and we got pro MMA fights, we got amateur MMA fights, and we also have a really special feature. We got a teen MMA fight between two 17-year-old boys that are really popular in their respective high school. So yeah, we got these things coming up, and I'm really proud of this project because it's during the pandemic, and no one else are doing shows, because everyone feel like it's impossible, it's too tough of a task. I just decided to take on the challenge and be like, I'm not gonna let anything stop me. I'm gonna show the world that, whatever the circumstances, I could still make a show go. So yeah, that's the whole reason and motivation behind Potion Fight Night on February 6th. Yeah.
And I have to ask you about the Team MMA because the channel Fight Commentary Breakdowns got started breaking down Latvian Team MMA. So tell me about this 2-on-2 Team MMA.
Oh, the Team MMA. Okay, so when the pandemic hit the world, Full Dojo pretty much, well, just like every other promotion, we had to cease operations for a long time. So this included Full Dojo, Muay Thai Super Champ, Muay Hardcore, One Championship, UFC Asia. The list goes on. Almost every promotion in Asia, well, including over the West, has to stop, right? And on behalf of Full Dojo, we were lucky enough to be working with Cam Soda, which is a website. In return of their sponsorship, they would like to see circus fights. So more or less bringing back Japanese style MMA fights, like the old Pride days where we had the really big guy versus a really small guy and whatnot. But we wanted to step it up a notch, So we started thinking of ideas like what could we do to make things a little bit different. We've seen tag team, 3 versus 3, 2 versus 2, 4 versus 4. But we've never seen 2 versus 1, 3 versus 1, 4 versus 1. Or whatnot, like a mixed bag of tricks, So we decided to give it a try. We picked out some of the best personalities in town, and it worked out really fine. I'm not sure if you watched the first Fight Circus. I'm not talking the second one. The first one, we had a 2 versus 1 fight. It was a really scary 6'1" Russian dude, a pro fighter, versus 2 untrained little Thai guys. And everyone was so sure that the big Russian guy was just gonna knock both of them out. And then I think in the second round or whatnot, the 2 Thai guys actually they took him down and they choked him. And that was a breakthrough fight. We received a lot of attention worldwide for that fight itself. Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna have to look at Fight Circus 1 because I wasn't aware of it. So you mentioned that promotions kind of slowed a little. How is training right now under this current unfortunate situation around the world? Is this like, are you two both able to kind of train like normal, or do you have to take extra precautions? Tell me more about that.
For me and Marie, because most of the time it's just me and her, so it's just pretty much home training. Everything goes on as per normal. For other gyms,
well, all the gyms opened up now. from yesterday again. So right now everybody's kind of back to training normal. But before that, yeah, there were like I think 2 or 3 weeks when all the gyms were closed, but didn't affect me or Nick either that much.
I
And
see.
when one championship was in Bangkok a few months ago, I had 3 of my guys fight on the shows. We pretty much did the entire fight camp on the rooftop of my condominium. And in my entire coaching career, like that's my favorite. Yeah, best time of my life. It was awesome. Yeah.
Wow. I think a lot of people watching would probably ask Marie this question, which is that, Marie, you're Estonian, but you train in Thailand. How easy is it for, let's say, someone in Canada, someone in Brazil or whatever, to go to Thailand to train? Tell us about that process of relocating to Thailand.
I don't think it's that hard if you yourself are like an open-minded person. So for me, it took maybe like 2 weeks to really get used to the life here. At first, I was feeling like kind of lonely because I was really like introverted and shy when I first came here. But Thai people in general are like really welcoming and really friendly people. So I think for everyone that's like friendly themselves, and not arrogant, is pretty easy to get along with the people here. So yeah.
And Marie, did you have to like get a special fighter visa or something? I'm not familiar with how. From my understanding, like as long as you're like training in Thailand, you get a visa. So tell me more about that, just because I don't know much about that.
Yeah, the visa situation is probably the hardest part about staying in Thailand, because there are really there are not like easy ways to get a visa. But now I'm on work permit, so now I'm all sorted out. But
I see. And Nick, so how often, what you do, how often do you travel around? I know you mentioned, all these places. Is every kind of is your kind of week to week or month to month like a lot of travel, or do you get to kind of stay put? Tell me more about that.
Before the pandemic, I think I spent my entire life on planes and hotels. Because I was really out there. I was trying to make a change. My dream is to unite Southeast Asia, because I've had a lot of experience training around the world and meeting a lot of different people, and I've always heard a lot of negative stuff about us Southeast Asians being. It's a lot of comments saying that we're not capable of being successful in MMA or in the fight world or whatnot. And I was talking about like Muay Thai fighters that Muay Thai fighters would never make it in MMA or whatnot. And I just had this dream, this ambition, like like I want to do my best to put Southeast Asia on the map. Not talking about specific countries. I'm just talking about Southeast Asia itself. So I did a lot of traveling, a lot of work, a lot of seminars, a lot of coaching, a lot of event organizing around Southeast Asia. I was the first guy to ever bring Vietnamese athletes out of the country to compete in international MMA. I organized the first ever MMA tournament in Myanmar. I was the first ever foreign coach for the national MMA team in Cambodia. Just all these things. So before the pandemic, I was traveling like a lot. I think in 365 days a year, I was at least traveling for 250 days. Wow. Yeah, so it's just always on the road. It's always a glass of whiskey on my left hand and a phone on my right, and I'm on the plane. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, but it was an amazing experience. I've never regretted.
Wow.
Yep.
Nick, it's interesting that you mentioned that there's a stereotype that, Southeast Asia, maybe, the fighters aren't capable of stepping onto the world stage or something like that. Because just for me and the people I train with, whenever we hear someone's Thai or something, we get scared, right? So it could be just an LA thing. We were in LA, there's a lot of Muay Thai gym, there's a lot of MMA. So we respect like anyone from Thailand. But it's interesting that you mentioned that maybe there's certain parts of the world that still thinks of, let's say, Southeast Asia as, it's kind of like a backwater. Is that kind of, I didn't even realize that there was still a kind of a perception
Well, in terms of MMA, so a lot of the concept that Westerners think of the Southeast Asian fighters is that like we got no wrestling, we got no takedown defense, So if they fight one of our Southeast Asians, just take us down and choke us out early in the first round, like that's the idea that a lot of them have. So that's what I'm doing differently. Like the last few years, like I've been going to Cambodia, and I've just been trying my best to instill like a complete MMA game to some of the best Kun Khmer fighters in Cambodia. The top 5 Kun Khmer fighters in Cambodia are all my MMA students. So just stuff like that, and hard work paid off. The results actually showed. Some of them didn't get the clear victory, but the results actually showed. And I'm not being arrogant about it. I'm just saying I'm very honored and very proud to be a part of their journey to becoming something great. Yeah.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned that, it is true. Even some people I know would probably say this exact thing. They're like, okay, yeah, if a Thai guy clinches me, tries to throw me, I'll just sit on the ground, right? So yes, I have heard that. So there is this kind of perception. There's definitely this perception that if I take on a Muay Thai person or anyone from Southeast Asia, I would just use my jiu-jitsu. There is that perception. Yeah, now that you mention it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to change. I keep the striking. I want my guys. I want my students. I want my fighters to keep the striking, but just make it impossible for people to just take us down and think that they could school us on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. And, this is a very good segue for Marie's fight journey, because Marie, when you went from Muay Thai to MMA, did it take some time to adjust to the MMA style of fighting, or did you adjust really quickly?
Yeah, I'd say it definitely took some time. It's actually nothing that difficult. If you still keep your striking and just make it a little bit more MMA specific and get your takedown defense on point, then you're pretty much good to go, and add some grappling in case you do get taken down. And
so it sounds like the way you approach MMA is very much, okay, well, my base is still, I'm going to strike them and beat them, but if they try to grapple me, I know what to do, right? Your goal is not to be like, I will be a better grappler than them. It's like, no, I'll have enough grappling so they can't do their grappling on me, and I'll still strike them and beat them.
Yeah, pretty much. That was my game plan for my MMA fights.
Look at the last UFC, or Max Holloway, basically. He's been doing that all his career, and he's so good. For Nick, do you guys collaborate a lot with One Championship? What's sort of the relationship there?
We got a good, healthy relationship going on. They help me a lot, my guys a lot, my career, my gym's reputation and whatnot. And in return, I try my best to offer whatever assistance that I can give. They've been very fair to us. So it's a good relationship, it's a good relationship. It's a good platform and whatnot. So me starting this new federation of CFC, we're not trying to compete with one. We're just trying to start a completely new and different revolution. Yeah, I mean, why work against each other when we can work together? Yeah, the industry is really so small. The money in this industry is really so shit. So I in my opinion, I feel like we should all come together as one and try to make the best out of it.
Yeah, I like that approach. I love it. Like a very win-win approach, right? And I think that's what makes a lot of fighters, even in the U.S., want to go to Southeast Asia or go into One Championship or go into your league, because there seems to be a more care. It's not just, oh yeah, let's like make money at the expense of someone. It's like let's all work together and try to have the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you're putting on an event like this event that's about to happen on February 6th, what is your kind of roster of fighters you reach out to? Do you have like 500, or it's like, I will get these 10 fighters, that's all I'm going to reach out to? Tell me about that process, like putting on the exact matches, the matchmaking.
I get what I want. I get who I want, and that's the best thing in my ability, is that I am a promoter that actually fought before professionally, and it's not too long ago. And I'm, and I still train on a regular basis. I still spar with professional fighters, so I know a lot about fighting still. So these matchups and fighters that I put together, I play them out in my mind, because I always believe in styles make fights. So for example, I wouldn't just go like, okay, this person is 5-0, this person is 5-0. I'll make them fight. I would actually, I watch their fights and I would decide if the style actually makes sense. Yeah, if that makes any sense. For example, like if this person's 5-0, that person's 5-0, and you're both counter punches, and then you're not gonna get much out of it.
Yeah. When I spar one of my coaches, that's what happens, right? I think I'm a counter puncher and he's a counter puncher. And then I feel like because I'm the student, I have to do something, right? So I'm going in and getting hit. So yeah, I know what you mean. But like if I were fighting him in a match, I wouldn't do that, right? I'd be like, okay, I'll just stand back, whatever. And then the audience would go boo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's also a good thing with having the events during the pandemic with no crowds. The fighters could just focus on fighting and having fun, and not get pressured by the boos or whatnot and everything. Yeah.
Exactly. It's interesting mentioning the crowd because one of the events that always comes to mind is the first Royce Gracie for Sakuraba match versus the second one, the rematch, right? The first match was in Japan and the crowd was really respectful, but the second match was in America, I think. And like the crowd actually booed them. These two people, like, why are you booing Sakuraba and Royce? Just let them grapple. It was so crazy thinking about the audience can be really sometimes like, because they don't always put in the effort to understand, especially the grappling aspects, they'll be really mean when they feel like there's no action, but there actually is a lot of action. They just don't see it.
Oh man, I love the Japanese audiences, man. They're so respectful and so knowledgeable in combat sports. They really respect it. My dream is to fight in Japan. So once the pandemic is over and I sought her career out, like I plan to return to fighting in Japan. I've got a lot of contacts and businesses over there too. And so Japan is definitely the future for me, But as to what we just talked about, unfortunately, at the end of the day, it's an entertainment industry. We are entertainers. Marie is an entertainer. Because if you don't entertain, you're not going to get opportunities. That's just how it is. You might not like it. It might not be your thing, but you just got to do it if you want to keep going. Yeah.
And a perfect segue for Marie. Have you, out of all the fights you've had, was there one you were really looking forward to, and was there one you were really dreading? Tell me about sort of your most dreaded fight, or do you even ever dread fights, or are you always like, oh, I'm so ready to fight?
I don't think I've ever not looked forward to any of my fights. There's definitely some fights that I was more nervous about, like for example, my fight in one championship. I think that was the fight that I was the most nervous about because it's obviously such a big step up because one championship is such a big league, and I knew that there would be a lot more people watching me fight than usual. So I really wanted to give it my all that fight, and I really wanted people to remember me from that fight. So I was definitely more nervous, but I think it worked out in my advantage in the end anyway. So
I'm sure you're very looking forward to the next one on February 6th, but is there any other fighter you really want to take on that you're itching to have Nick like set you up with?
I don't know, not really. I haven't really thought about it, but I'm ready to fight anyone. So
the reason I asked is just because a lot of people like to put you and Alma together in like the same category. They want to see you two fight. So I thought maybe like one day you and Alma could have one.
Yeah, sure, I'd fight her.
So Marie, have you had gyms, and you don't have to name them by name, but have you had gyms where, like, for example, you had to leave because it got too toxic or they didn't treat you right? Tell me more about that.
I wouldn't say like really toxic, but I have been to a gym where it's like you have no life outside of training. Like obviously it's really important to give training your everything, because that's how you make your living, and when it's time to be in fight camp, it's time to be in fight camp. You can't go like out partying, you can't go like eating whatever you want and all of that stuff, and that's really important. But it's also important that when you're off season, when you don't have a fight coming up, that you also do other things in life. But I've been to a gym where pretty much like, what do you mean you're not going to that lifting session right now? What do you like? Even if there's some like special event, some, let's say it's your friend's birthday or whatever, like important occasion that you would really want to take just that one training session off when you're not in fight camp. And when you're not allowed to do that, then it just it makes it look like a job, you know, like something that, oh man, I have to go there again, oh man, I can't do that, I can't do this, you know. So I think there really has to be a balance between fight life and a normal life. And yeah, that's why I'm working with Nick right now, and I'm really happy to be here now.
And I assume, Nick, you were the one that approached Marie first, right? Or did she come to you and be like, "Oh, train me"? What was the conversation like to get her on board?
There was no conversation. We didn't plan this. We didn't expect this at all. As a matter of fact, like the last 2 years, like I tried to hang out with her, but she would always like say no to me and stuff, you know. But it's just one of those, like, it just happens, you know. And it's actually, Marie coming into my life is one of the best things ever, because like the last few years I've been so busy chasing this financial dream that I got really unhealthy and out of control with my lifestyle. I was drinking and partying and not sleeping at all every day, every night.
Wow.
And I was getting beat up a little bit by my own guys, you know. And so ever since Marie stepped in, like she motivated me so much to improve my own lifestyle, because I saw that this 21-year-old girl moved to Thailand from Estonia at a young age, and her everyday life is nothing but dedication to improving herself and becoming a world champion. So if a person like her could do that, what's my excuse? You know, so Marie's been really, really positive to me, and I'm really, really thankful for her. Yeah.
Another question I had for Marie is, you little girls ever reach out to you, be like, "Marie, you're my role model"? I think even if people don't tell you, probably a lot of girls, whether teenagers or whatever, probably look up to you. They're like, "Wow, she's doing something different. She's doing something cool." Tell me about that.
Yeah, lately I actually have been getting a lot of messages for people like saying like, "Oh, you inspire me," and yeah, stuff like that. And I'm really happy to read stuff like that. You know, I'm always happy if I can help other people out as well, you know. And the funny thing is, like same with Nick, you know, it wasn't my idea to be like, all right, I'ma help him out, you know, or yeah, it's just it's like a byproduct of what I'm doing, and it's such a blessing, man. I'm really happy to be able to do that.
And another question I had is, I mean, people in the US, I think, know you, and people in Thailand know you. Do people in Estonia know you? Like, if you go to Estonia, are you a celebrity in Estonia?
I haven't been to Estonia for a while now, so I wouldn't know about that. But yeah, I guess some Estonians are starting to recognize me, especially after my one championship fight, because I'm the first Estonian to go to one championship. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And
wow, congrats, man. I didn't know about that, but that's a really good achievement. I'm so proud of you. That's awesome.
Funny story. I actually 3 or 4 days before Marie joined me, I actually retired. I officially retired from coaching. So I can't go back into it. When I say retired from coaching, I mean like I stopped doing it for money. I announced to the world that anyone who wants to train with me on my team, that it's free. I don't charge people no more, and I will never ever charge people again. So one day when me and Marie, like we make that $5-6 million in the bank account, like we're gonna open a gym where it's just free for anyone, especially kids.
I think that's a very noble thing. And just sharing a little about myself, I didn't do martial arts in my high school and college. So I spent 8 years without martial arts, and it messed me up mentally so bad. So I can say the times when I did do martial arts, I think I was much healthier. Like I thank goodness I had martial arts as a kid and then early teens. So I think what you guys, your kind of goal long-term is really noble, and so many people can be helped by martial arts. So yeah, that's awesome. That kind of brings back to a topic too. And I think this is this is maybe a good little thing for everyone who trains martial arts or even fighters to think about. It's like, think about a long-term goal too, right? You got to think about what you're going to be doing when you're 40 or 50. Like, as you mentioned, so a lot of your, the people you've trained, there's real estate people, there's people with ramen shops, they like went on and did other things. And I think that's something to really keep in mind too. Like, think about, what is next? Don't just think about the next 2 years, think about 5 years, 10 years, etc. So I think that is a great lesson, great takeaway, especially for people in the combat sports.
Well, especially for me, because personally, I believe that Marie has a lot of options if she stops fighting. Because, look at her, it's Marie, but for me, it's like, I've burned so many bridges and I've improved a lot, but, I'm always known as this, like, I've got a nasty reputation wherever I go because I'm just a punk kid, I've got no degree, I didn't finish school, I couldn't even write things properly, so a lot of the hustle I did the last few years is to prepare me for the worst case scenario. So I'm really blessed to be able to work really hard the last 4 years, and I purchased quite a few properties in Malaysia and in Thailand, and it's still going well even during the pandemic, and whatnot. And my dream one day is to run my own hotel business or whatnot. But that's actually what I've been teaching Marie too. Is like, you got to start thinking about the future. So what if you walk in, knock on wood? Is this wood? Yeah, this is wood. Knock on wood. What if you walk into your next fight and then some drunk asshole throws in? Thank you. Some drunk asshole throws in a banana to you and she slips on it and breaks something and she can never fight again. You don't want to come out of it being like, oh fuck, I'm so stressed out, I can't fight. What do I do? You want to be like, you know what? It's all good. Like, I've got backup plans.
What is the tagline for your February 6th event?
What's the tagline?
Yeah.
Okay. We're creating a platform. Okay, we're creating a platform where the production profits, the fighters succeed, and the sponsors benefit. That's
there we
my
go.
tagline.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
Fighters succeed and the sponsors benefit, man. That's what we all care about.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be happy. It's really crude and straightforward, but it's just me. I'm just the realest motherfucker you will ever meet.
There you go. And I think since a video just went on Fight Commentary Breakdowns where we broke down one of the events that you helped organize, tell me about that 3-on-1, if you remember, the 3-on-1 featuring Panda. So, like, how did that come about?
Well, like I said, it's based on Fight Circus 1. People saw 2 versus 1 and figured like that is really cool. So we thought we'd step it up a notch and offer 3 versus 1.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Panda Banks is one of the biggest badasses living and training and fighting in Thailand. So he's been a dear treasure to Full Metal Dojo. Mm-hmm. And we basically asked him, like, would you be down for 3 little guys versus you? And he's like, yeah, why not? So we went out seeking for 3. I think one of them is Gilberto. He's actually a really accomplished MMA fighter. And then we had a guy who never fought before. And then we had another guy that fought like quite a bit, And that's actually one of the most entertaining things ever. Like I was sitting ringside enjoying the masterpiece that the team put together, and it was one of the craziest thing ever. So check it out. I'm sure you've seen it. The fight starts. Steve Banks, like, he went across the ring and cheap shotted like one of the guys. Yeah. It was like the best thing ever. But yeah, Circus is gonna go on with a lot of projects with Full Metal Dojo. We got Bare Knuckle Kingdom coming up. Hopefully, if it's a full BKB FC event, it's all bare knuckle boxing, and then we got Circus, hopefully Circus 3 coming up and whatnot. And on top of that, Full Metal Dojo is also backing me on my projects and my events, because these are the guys that show me the ropes in this industry and taught me a lot about organizing and being a showman, So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's never been an event where a promotion sponsors and backs another event. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, why work against each other when you can work together? Yeah. They benefit, we benefit. We promote Full Metal Dojo, they promote us. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's always how I try to run my channel, right? Just try to make everyone benefit, so to speak. So yeah, I really like the philosophy. Would you ever encourage Marie to do like a 2v2 or anything like that? Or would that be a little bit of not right now? So choice.
Yeah, I'm down with anything as long as they pay me good. It's all about money.
She never cared about money. She started caring about money because then she moved to Bangkok and then she realized how expensive the city is. And I was like, okay, I think I need money. like one of my guys, Akihiro, like I said, he opened a restaurant. We went there to support him, and it was 2 bowls of ramen, 2 bottles of water, and it was at like $50.
Wow.
And for Bangkok, like that's a lot of money, right? Like, that's a lot of money, you know. So I think now she's starting to realize the importance of money in the pocket, you know.
Yeah. I think in general, a lot of people start not really caring about finances until it's too late, right? So that's a good lesson, not just for fighters, especially for fighters, but for everyone else too. Like think about like, yeah, it's so interesting. And I didn't even know that Bangkok was a more expensive city, but I guess it's because it's so touristy. Is that why? Or is it because like the Chinese tourists ruin it? Why is Bangkok so expensive?
I think any bustling capital city of any country is expensive. You know, Bangkok's definitely stepping up in cost of living. I guess it's just I don't want to say too much in it because I'm still a guest in this country. I guess you know, but basically it is what it is. It is what it is.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, living up north in Chiang Mai is like way cheaper.
Yeah, I bawled hard when I went to Chiang Mai. I was like, wait, this only costs this much? This only costs that much? You know? Yeah.
Wow. Well, guys, it sounds like there's a lot of interesting things to come, and I'm sure at least 1 or 2 of those matches in your promotion is going to end up being commentated on my channel. So I'm sure we will promote that. I'm also sure we're going to have you guys back because I really enjoyed this conversation. And I know there's going to be so much to follow up on. So let's figure out another time and bring you guys back on again. And let's talk more. Maybe in like 1 or 2 months after this event or something. Let's talk some more, man.
More than happy, man. And, you know, really happy to see you smiling and having fun again, you know, because I understood the last time we spoke, you were a little bit drained out.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate you. Saying that, man. Yeah, it was part of it was just it was you know, election season in America, so it's like there's so much stress, and then the channel was having some problems reaching people. So yeah, it was, but it is what it is. And once we stop talking, I'll tell you more about some of the things I've been doing to kind of like make myself less stressed out. So I'll tell you more about off camera. But yeah, I appreciate that.
No worries, man. Yeah.
Awesome. So for viewers watching, I will put Marie and Nick and the new promotion, Potion Fight Night, and of course I'll put Full Metal Dojo might as well. I'll put all the links in the description, pinned comments, etc. You can follow them, and you'll definitely see more coverage of stuff from Thailand because people in Thailand are so chill. Like Full Metal Dojo said I could commentate their stuff, and now I know I'm gonna comment Nick's stuff. This is awesome. So we're gonna have a lot more Thai stuff on my channel, which is good because I don't want to just be the channel that's freak show stuff and the channel that's Chinese stuff. I want to do Thai freak show stuff and Thai stuff too.
It'll be great. And check this out, Jerry. Like once this pandemic is over, I'm gonna fly you all the way here just to work with me on my shows.
I would love to, man. I would love to.
Me and Marie, man, we'll bring you around town.
Thank you. You know. That would be great. We could call Sakon. He can like drive down or something. All of us.
Yeah. We'll have fun. We'll definitely have fun.
Totally, man. Cool. So for those of you watching, press subscribe, leave a comment, etc. I'll stop recording and I'll continue talking to you guys after I stop recording.